Have you been an agent and maybe things aren't coming together? You've considered this market has been different. Maybe you got into real estate and right now you're thinking to yourself, maybe this isn't the right business for me.
Or maybe you've been in real estate for a minute and things just aren't going the way that you're accustomed to them going.
Today, what we're going to talk about is what we're focused on right now and what's moving the needle for us.
It's really simple. In fact, we've broken it down into a 3-letter acronym. C.A.M.
What C.A.M stands for? Calendar, activity, and message.
Calendar, activity, and message. Okay, so what does that mean?
To me?
Yes.
To me, it means that you gotta have focused time. You gotta focus, you gotta put your energy on a space on your calendar and say, this is the time that I've set aside for activity. So activity being contacts, how many people you talk to, and I've got time set aside that I'm gonna work on my message. Calendar, activity, message. Our calendar, Gary Keller said, like, want to know how much money somebody has, look at their calendar, right?
If it's not on your calendar, it doesn't exist.
If it's not on your calendar, it doesn't exist. So making sure that we have that time set aside. Now, look, the conversation we had yesterday about overcomplicating and trying to come up with new solutions on how to get business. You gotta go back. All
basics.
these shiny objects and all this stuff. I mean, trust me, I get distracted just like everybody else. But contacts. How many people you talk to, what you say to them, is what's gonna dictate how well you do.
Yeah, putting yourself in a position to have real estate related conversations. How do we do that? I mean, let's get back to the basics, right? I heard Coach Vince Lombardi said the key to winning is being brilliant at the basics.
Yeah.
When we talk about putting
the three basics.
The three basics: your calendar, activity, and your message. And when we talk about the basics of activity in real estate, conversations. What are ways that we can get in conversation? Well, open houses.
You can have a lot of conversations at an open house.
Face-to-face conversations at an open house. What are other ways that you can put yourself in real estate related conversations? I love the one that you always say, if you don't know, go stand in front of Kroger.
You're gonna be able to create a number. Like if you ask 100 people if they want to sell their house, well, what's gonna happen? Sooner or later, somebody's gonna say yes. Now, what's that number? The only thing that's gonna change is who you're asking, right? The list of people or the group of people that you ask the question to.
I have to tell a story about this morning.
Okay.
You weren't here this morning when this happened, right? So I'm making my calls. I'm on Mojo. I'm talking to people. Michaela's sitting right there with me. Walker comes over to listen to the call. So I'm calling through. I got a buyer that's looking in a certain area. They've been looking for a little while. They're very specific on what it is that they want. Ranch style home in a certain area. And I'm calling through and I get somebody that gets on the phone. When I drop my opener, she says, "How did you get my number?"
Google.
I laughed because I work on my message every single day. So I kind of laughed about it and said, it's 2022. Data's out there. And she laughs it off and she says, "Yes, you want to know why I asked?" I said, "Why?" This lady says, "Because I moved to Kentucky just a few months back. I bought my home. I live in Ellerslie. And I'm from a certain area and I'm thinking about going back to that area. And I'm gonna have to sell my home here in order to do that." It's a $600,000, $700,000 house.
So she thinks that the reason why she asked is she thought like Facebook was listening to her.
Or she also had been scammed before.
Oh.
So working on message again and storytelling, I relate back to Brandon. Or when someone tried to scam him. And then we also had another common factor. So we're building rapport right away. We're working on a message. We build rapport because she's from where she's going to go back to. I have family that lives there.
Really?
I was just there a few months ago, right? So now we have instant rapport, and by putting myself in a situation to have real estate related conversations, this lady's gonna be selling a $500,000 house and buying probably $1 million house based off of where she wants to go back to in Tennessee.
A call like that might be 1 in 1,000.
1 in 1,000, but
you gotta make the 1,000 calls to get to it. You know, like what? I mean, if you're not making calls, you're never gonna get it. But
like you said, you can stand outside of Kroger and talk to 100 people, and eventually somebody's gonna say,
it might take 1,000.
It might take 1,000. It might take 2,000. But eventually somebody's gonna say,
yeah,
I'm ready to do something.
Right. I read somewhere else that there was like 13 months was the average time between a Zillow lead or a Realtor.com lead and when they actually purchase.
13 months.
13 months. So that means that you have to follow up. If you buy leads from either one of those companies and you're not following up for 13 months or more, well, if the majority of people are buying after 13 months, what does that tell you?
Wow. So what is it? So what's that follow-up look like, right? So you got that activity, you put that on your calendar?
Or like if you just took your whole database and called them. Made contact to your database.
Yeah.
Or sent an email to your database, or sent a text to your database. It's just a matter of making contact, right?
Mm-hmm.
You gotta make contact. You gotta get that two-way conversation going. So, yeah, and then you gotta have the message right. So, okay, tell me. You said you work on the message. Tell me something about the message. Like, what is it that you've been focusing on when it comes to your message?
Well, when focusing on the message, first is getting it. I mean, are we amateurs or are we professionals? That's the question. Like, are we doing this part-time? Are we doing this full-time? Do we want to win or do we not want to win? Because if LeBron James or professional athletes are getting paid the big bucks, I want to get paid that much.
Yeah.
And one of the things that they do every single day is practice. You ask me what I'm doing to work on my message. One of the things is every single day we're here practicing our scripts, we're practicing our presentations. I don't want my first time doing a presentation to be in live action. That's why people go to the game early and warm up. You know, you go to the game a little early and warm up, and they go to practice every day to get better at their craft.
And I think we've been guilty recently of not making a priority of having that on our message when there's never been a more important time to have a clear message. Like, you know, I mean, remember when we started working together, we would practice every single day for 30 minutes. It was on our calendar, and that was a non-negotiable. Mm-hmm. We still spend that 30 minutes together, but we had gotten away from like practicing delivering the message, and that's something that we've regained focus on. And I think it's a really important part of being professional. Mm-hmm. Is understanding what it is, what your message is, where you're coming from, who you are, what you're about, how you're going to help people.
So I think that's where we're working on our message. That's where we've been at more recently is we still practice, and we've been working, putting yourselves in the room to have the conversations to improve your message. Because think about it, like it was so cool that one time when Dave Ramsey put out an article that we had been having that conversation for 2.5, 3 weeks about, right?
Right. Yeah, so I think like that part of it, that piece of it, like, here's the message that like I would like everyone to have. It's like, if you're a consumer and you want to buy or sell a house, if you really understood the work that we put into being the most professional, to being the best communicators, to being the most proactive and having a strategic plan when it comes to marketing your property, if you knew not just our message, but who we are.
The relentless pursuit, like.
If you knew who we were, it would be crazy for you to work with someone else. I think the same thing in my mind and in my heart goes to agents, right? Like I see all these agents on the other side of these transactions, and it's partially their fault because there's got to be some personal responsibility. But I also always go to leadership, right? Like we're, the direction that a lot of people take in this business, if they had the right direction, where would they be?
Man.
If they had the right direction and they had the right leadership, would that personal, the responsibility they take, or would that change? I don't believe so. So like when I think about other agents, I know we've got a lot of barriers that keep our message away from people, but man, the clarity on that message, I'm pretty clear on my message, who I am. And then it's the delivery of it. So I'm not making contact with enough people, right? Well, how am I going to do that? How am I going to deliver that message? Well, I have to make contacts.
Mm-hmm.
I have to deliver the message.
Mm-hmm.
Like that message isn't going to come from my social media. It's going to come from a two-way conversation.
Yeah.
I mean, the social media might add credibility. It might add, it might attract people to a conversation with me. But I have to talk to more people. I have to talk to more people.
I mean, that's the easy thing to do, right? Is to chase that next shiny object, right? We don't always know. Man, super guilty of it. Extremely guilty of it. And when you look at the best of the best, right? We've been listening to the same Tony Robbins book recently. What does he say? Is that you have 3 decisions. You have 3 decisions at all times. What are you gonna focus? What do you focus on? What does that mean to you? And what are you gonna do about it? Right? So as a real estate agent, it's like, what are you focusing on? Are you focusing on it long enough to see it through? Because the next shiny object is always gonna come up.
So to simplify it, I mean, we can have this conversation all day, but to simplify it, it's 3 things. It's your calendar, it's the activity you're putting in, activity equaling contacts, voice to voice or text messages, but it's something where you're talking back and forth, and what you're saying, your message. And those are the 3 things the agents that are struggling right now should focus on.
Those are the 3 things that we're focused on right now.
We're not struggling.
As an organization.
Yeah.
And if you don't know where to get started, if you don't have someone to practice to, there's one differentiation. Script practice, role play. Script practice, reading your script, internalizing it, so that I'm not thinking about what I'm gonna be saying. I can think about how I'm saying it and what the other person's reaction to what I'm saying is. So script practice and role play. Script practice is reading your script and internalizing it. Role play is live action. Find you a partner, somebody to engage with you, somebody that's gonna go back and forth with you. And if you don't have someone,
I will.
I second.
Call me.
Call. Get a hold of us somehow.
Call me.
We'll get it on the calendar.
I'll
and we'll
share our
practice
scripts. I'll share the whole folder full of scripts that we have, and I'll role play with you.
And you can come in and watch and sit in on one of our conversations about what message we're delivering.
Share that.
Hopefully. Go ahead. Close it out.
Hopefully you found some value in what we've shared with you today. And if you are able to take a piece of it and use it in your business, make sure you let us know. I mean, well, you don't even have to. But if there's something else that we could share with you that would help you even more, just let us know. I mean, you can contact us through the messaging on this page or call us.